You probably know it from the NIV, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. The King James Version adds a word. It says, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens the countenance of another. And I'm wondering if you could memorize the translation in the Message, just because it's a bit fresh. Peterson translates that verse like this: you use steel to sharpen steel, and one friend sharpens another. Could you just kind of do that with me? You use steel to sharpen steel, and one friend sharpens another. One more time. You use steel to sharpen steel, and one friend sharpens another. We are, how many weeks? I'm lost. I was away this week. Is this our third week? Is that right? In Proverbs. We're 3 weeks into Proverbs, and the theme of the book, as we've looked at it in our study and as Steve has taught, is that there are two paths of life: the wise path and the foolish path. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. The Proverbs, as we're learning, and I hope you're reading through them faster than we're going through them in the studies, the Proverbs present this comprehensive view of life, where one employs wise speech, wise listening, wise counsel, wise behavior, and all of that coalesces and produces life. On the other hand, foolish living, listening to foolish counsel, speaking foolish words, participating in foolish behavior produces death. Proverbs 11:30, the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life. Regarding following the adulteress, Proverbs 2:18 says, for her house leads down to death. Proverbs 13:14, the teaching of the wise is a fountain of life, turning a man from the snares of death. Chapter 8, verse 38, if you hate wisdom, you love death. Proverbs 15, verse 24, the path of life leads upward for the wise, to keep him going down to the grave. Proverbs 14, verse 12, there's a way that seems right to a person, to a man, to a woman, but the end leads to death. Proverbs 14:27, the fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, turning a man from the snares of death. So we have these paths that we can trace out and that we can follow in life. Well, along the way in the book of Proverbs, different characters show up, and we meet them and we learn from them. There's the fool who will lead us astray. There's the mocker who doesn't listen to rebuke. And then there's the sluggard. I like the sluggard. He is so lazy that he puts his hand into the dish and is too lazy to bring it back to his mouth. And as the door swings on its hinges, so the sluggard swings on his bed. And he says, there's a lion in the road. I can't get up. It's too dangerous out there. Well, there's another character that comes up again and again in Proverbs, and we looked at this character in our studies this week, and this is the character of the friend. Now let me ask you, when I say friend or friendly, what comes to your mind most immediately? Don't we usually think that friend means easy? You get a user-friendly VCR, and that means it won't say 12 o'clock all the time on the clock. Or a user-friendly computer, that means you have a Macintosh, and it works. Sorry. Or friendship evangelism means to just kind of hang out and hope something good happens. Well, Proverbs are saturated with material about friends, and I just want to outline a couple of highlights. The Proverbs teach us that friends are valuable, they're dangerous, and they are costly. They're valuable in the Proverbs. A friend is one who will give us and show us deep loyalty. 18:24, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And what's being held up here is the picture of not being of a friend to everyone, but being a friend to a few with whom you have a covenant relation. A friend is one with whom you have camaraderie. You share the same room. Ecclesiastes is not the book of Proverbs, but it's very, very similar when it says in chapter 4, verse 10, if one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls down and has no one to help him up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. There's that picture of coming together in friendship, and there's strength there. Friends can lead to personal development. C.S. Lewis said it like this. He said, "In each one of my friends there is something that only some other friend can bring out. By myself," he says, "I am not large enough to call the whole man into activity. I want other lights than my own to show all of my facets." Ken Blanchard said, I love this, he said, "None of us is as smart as all of us." That's the need for friendship. And the quality of our lives will be enhanced in direct proportion to the friends that we choose and keep. I mean, parents, you are here, and you know that you want your sons and your daughters to have friends. You want them to have that give and take experience on the playground where they have to win some and lose some. But you want them not only to have friends, you want them to have good friends, friends that will lead them in the right direction. He who walks with the wise, chapter 13, verse 20, grows wise. But a companion of fools suffers harm. Friends are valuable. Secondly, friends are dangerous. Having friends is no better than having money. They can lead you in a good direction or they can lead you in the bad direction. Years ago, right up here on the Mesa, Lisa and I went and interviewed a woman. We were going to do a prison project. We did do the prison project where we brought prisoners out for 2 weeks to do a project on a house, and then we would do discipleship with them as a church, and they stayed in many of our homes. And Doug Ribbons ran the project up here on the Mesa, but Lisa and I went to interview a woman to talk to her. Her husband had Alzheimer's disease, and we needed to build a fence around her yard so that her husband couldn't get out because he was wandering at night. As we talked with her, she said something to us that was an understatement. She said, hear the story. She said, "I want you to know my son is serving a life sentence in prison." And she said, "Will that disqualify me from receiving the help of these prisoners and the help of your church?" And we said, "No, that's not a problem at all. As a matter of fact, it's kind of good." And then she uttered the line that every mother utters when her son is in prison. She said, "He just got involved with the wrong, what? People, the wrong friends." Now that was the understatement. We didn't ask about the crime of her son, but about 2 months after the project, I was reading the LA Times, and she had a very interesting last name, and I saw the name of her son, that he was denied parole for the 4th time, and he was a part of the Manson family. He got involved with the wrong people. The fact that we have friends is no better than the fact that we have money. Either can lead us in a good direction or in a bad direction. Proverbs 22, verse 24, "Don't make friends with a hot-tempered man. Do not associate with one easily angered, or you may learn his ways and get yourself ensnared. He who keeps the law is a discerning son, but a companion of gluttons disgraces his father." Choose your friends wisely because they're dangerous. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. Friends are valuable, friends are dangerous, and friendship is costly. Don't miss this. Our society does not think a whole lot, especially for men, of friendship. I mean, most American men, and many of the men here, as you grow older, you're growing out of friends. It's one of the concerns I have for our church, is that we have the friendless American male syndrome. And what's worse than not having friends is that many men don't even see it as a problem. I mean, men play games, they compete, they grunt a little bit, but they don't talk too well. They're sociable at work, especially if they work in a team, but they don't have friends. Older people, older men. Let me talk to you for a minute. Remember Paul Simon's song in 1965? "I'm a rock. A winter's day in deep and dark December. I'm alone, gazing from my window to the streets below on a freshly silent shroud of snow. I'm a rock. I'm an island. I've built walls. I've built a fortress, deep and mighty, that none may penetrate. I have no need of friendship. Friendship causes pain. It's laughter and it's loving. I disdain. I'm a rock. I'm an island. Don't talk of love. I've heard the word before. It's sleeping in my memory of feelings that have died. If I never loved, I never would have cried. I'm a rock. I'm an island. I have my books and my poetry to protect me. I'm shielded in my armor, hiding in my room, safe within my womb. I touch no one, and no one touches me. I'm a rock. I'm an island. And a rock feels no pain. And an island never cries. Well, our proverb today is, you use steel to sharpen steel, and one friend sharpens another. And our society is not set up very well for friendship. We're busy. Time is money, so friendships will cost us too much. We move a lot. How many of us grew up in Santa Barbara? How many of us will die in Santa Barbara? We're a very transient, mobile society. We drive fast, and we don't have time for friends. And the proverb says, reevaluate. Friendship in our society is not valued. Productivity is. And the proverb says, rethink that. Rethink what we're doing. The proverbs say collectively, if you want a friend, it will cost you something. It will cost you more than time. There will be a rub in a good friendship. And that rub comes with genuine, deep, loving interaction. And that will make you a better person. Better is a rebuke with love, Proverbs 27:5. Better is a rebuke than hidden love. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. You see the picture there? Your enemy will flatter you, tell you how great you are. Your friend will tell you the truth, and from that you will grow. The Message translates that same verse, a spoken reprimand is better than approval that's never expressed. The wounds from a lover are worth it. Kisses from an enemy do you in. Now, if you're going to be a Proverbs-like friend, it will require more than just niceness. It will require becoming what I've already labeled comrades, people who share the same room. That word comrade is a French word. I kind of did a little homework on it, and it's a picture of two people who share fortune with one another, as in a dangerous adventure. So when we enter into a friendship, we say, let's go on life's adventure together and see where God takes us. 28:23, he who rebukes a man will in the end gain more favor than he who has a flattering tongue. Out of that rebuke comes love, comes progress in our faith. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. In a good friendship, there will be heat from time to time. I consider myself one of the most blessed men since the time of Christ to ever have lived. And I could go on and on and on about the blessings God has put in my life. Many of those blessings would come in the form of names of deep, dear friends to me. The friendship of my wife, Lisa, and the joy that she's been as a friend, as a lover, as a companion, but as a friend. The friendship I've enjoyed from Steve over the years. By the way, he's going to feel like Moses coming down from the mountain when we tell him all the things that broke out here, dancing in the park and so on. But he's back in Hawaii. Don't tell him. He's getting conservative in his older years. The friendship I've enjoyed from Steen Hudson. Steen and I have had coffee roughly once a week for 22 years. And what do? We just hang out together and we talk about life. We talk about our wives, we talk about our kids, we talk about the church, we talk about work, and we push one another. You know, if you know Steen, you know he gets in your face. And he would be quick to say, if you know Reed, you know he gets in your face. And in that, there's been this deep grace in my life. And the list just goes on of Steve Johnson and Jeff Ridenour and Todd Fear and my youth pastor, Paul Sailhammer, who 35 years ago, or whenever it was, I was in high school and he loved me. And we're still in contact just about every week. Of VJ and Ben and Casey and James and Esau and Norm and Dan and the list just goes on and on. God has blessed me with friends. And as I think, and a lot of others, that's just a tiny, tiny fragment. But as I think about the list, and I thought about this week preparing for this, 3 things stand out. These people love me, and they've loved me over the long haul. They've loved me, and they know me well enough to see me at my worst and still keep loving me. Secondly, they encourage me. Once in a while, they catch me doing something right. And they offer a word of encouragement. And thirdly, these are relationships where they will ask me the challenging question when it's appropriate and call me on the carpet. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. Friendships are valuable, they're dangerous, and they're costly. And I just have one plea for us today, especially for the men. I think for whatever reasons, women tend to be better at making friends. So you can listen to this or not listen to this. Men, you got to hear it, okay? Make a priority of godly friendship, and you will become a better person, more devoted to Christ. That's my plea. In all of the busyness of life and all the stuff that you're doing, which is, I know we're busy. In all of that, the ministries and the family and the work, make a priority of godly friends from whom you can receive nurture and to whom you can give. You know, Benjamin Franklin was a man that had friends. He had a group of men that met in his house every Friday night for 40 years. And they sharpened each other. Is it any accident that Benjamin Franklin came up with some of his great inventions later in life? They were sharpening him. So the challenge again is to build male to male and female to female friendships into our lives for the sake of the glory of God. Iron sharpens iron. So one man, one woman sharpens another. How do we do it? Focus. Focus on something other than your friendship. We don't have friendships in a vacuum. We make and meet and develop friendships when we have another area of interest. So if you don't have a good friend, find something that you're interested in. Look for other people who have the same interest. C.S. Lewis said, friendship must be about something, even if it were only an enthusiasm for dominoes or white mice. Those who have nothing can share nothing. Those who are going nowhere can have no fellow travelers. So focus on something and look at the people around you. Focusing on Christ is sufficient. Secondly, invite. Invite someone into your life and say, let's get together and just hang out together and talk about life. And let's do it regularly, and let's do it for a long time if we have any interest in it whatsoever. David and Jonathan made a covenant together, a covenant of friendship. Paul invited Timothy to go on to the second missionary journey with him, and they had a covenant relationship that lasted through the duration of their lives. Invite someone into your life with whom you click. And thirdly, interrogate. Focus, invite, and finally interrogate. Don't just be nice. That's not what friends do. We've seen that in the Proverbs. Friends don't just hang out. Proverbs like friends, ask great questions. As steel sharpens steel, one friend sharpens another. Well, God, we want to be the body of Christ in all of its manifestations, and one of those is that you've brought us together as brothers and sisters in Christ, and we pray that we would be men and women who have deep and enduring and endearing friendships, and that those friendships would not just be for their own sake, but that they would be for the sake of pushing us to conform to the image of Christ. And so we say thank you for this great gift. Amen. Let's stand. We're going to sing one more and then barbecue.